Ladies and gentlemen, there is a power within you that can bend circumstances to your will, a force more potent than talent, connections, or luck. It is the ability to master yourself. Once you conquer the battlefield of your own mind, you will find that the external world begins to yield. A person without a clear direction is like a ship without a rudder, tossed by waves, subject to every wind. But a person with a definite purpose is a force of nature. Purpose gives the mind an axis around which all thoughts and actions revolve. When you know exactly what you want and you commit to it without compromise, something remarkable happens. Confusion dissolves, distractions weaken, and every decision becomes clearer. Life rewards clarity, and clarity begins with purpose. Ask yourself daily, what is it I truly want, and what am I doing about it today? When you answer that with conviction and action, you begin to master yourself and by extension everything else. Self-discipline is not a punishment. It is the highest form of self-respect. It is the ability to tell yourself no in the moment so you can say yes to your vision in the future. The undisciplined person is ruled by impulse. A disciplined individual rules them. Mastery requires sacrifice. It demands that you rise when others sleep, work when others drift, focus when others scatter. Each act of discipline is a deposit in the bank of your future. You will never control your outer world until you control your inner urges. Discipline is the bridge between dreams and reality. Thought is the origin of all things. You are not what your environment says you are. You are not what others say you are. You are what you repeatedly think. Your mind is fertile soil. Plant seeds of fear and doubt, and you will reap failure. Plant seeds of courage, confidence, and certainty, and your harvest will be greatness. Guard your thoughts as a king guards his treasure. Mental mastery is not avoiding negative thoughts. It is recognizing them and replacing them. Catch your mind when it drifts into weakness and pull it back with intention. Train your thoughts and you will train your destiny. Every person chasing a worthy goal will face resistance. This is not punishment, it is a test. A test to see how badly you want what you claim. Mastery is not proven in moments of inspiration, but in moments of fatigue. It is easy to begin. It is rare to endure. When the results are slow, the recognition is absent, and the doubts are loud, that is where mastery is born. Stay the course. Remind yourself that temporary defeat is not permanent failure. Every great life was forged in the fire of persistence. The world does not reward the one who wants it. It rewards the one who won't quit. Mastering yourself is the root of all power. Where begins with purpose is enforced with discipline, built through controlled thought and proven through persistence. If you want to master business, relationships, art, health, or wealth, start by mastering you, because the person who has mastered himself fears nothing, lacks nothing, and stops for nothing. Master yourself and you will, in time, master everything. Every great achievement begins with clarity. Clarity of vision, clarity of desire, clarity of intent. Until you know exactly what you want from life, you're like a ship adrift in the sea, subject to the winds, the waves, and the whims of fate. But once you establish a definite purpose, something within you shifts. You're no longer a wanderer. You become a builder, an architect, a force with direction. Definitiveness of purpose is not simply about setting a goal. It is about defining your very reason for movement. It is the difference between activity and productivity, between motion and momentum. When your days are shaped by a clear objective, your energy aligns. Your choices begin to reflect your purpose, and you no longer waste time entertaining distractions that do not serve your path. You start to move with power, not just potential. Many people fail not because they lack intelligence or ambition, but because they scatter their efforts across too many directions. They want too many things. They chase one idea today, abandon it tomorrow, and begin something new the next day. This constant shifting creates frustration, confusion, and a sense of stagnation. They are in motion, but they are not advancing. They are working, but they are not building. Without purpose, even hard work becomes empty. But once you decide with absolute certainty what you want, your mind begins to organize itself around that objective. You begin to notice opportunities that were invisible before. You start attracting the right people, the right conversations, and the right ideas. This is not magic. This is the mind's remarkable power to focus and filter the world according to what it values. With purpose as your lens, the irrelevant fades and the essential sharpens. This is where personal power truly begins. When you have a definite purpose, you stop asking the world for permission. You stop hesitating because you know where you're going. You begin to act with intention, speak with conviction, and move with certainty. People around you sense it. They respond to it. The world starts to cooperate with a person who knows exactly what they want and refuses to settle for less. Purpose doesn't need to be perfect or fully developed from the beginning. What it needs is commitment. It needs your decision. Even a simple goal pursued with relentless focus can elevate your life more than 1,000 vague dreams. The most successful people are not always the most talented. They are often the most committed. They chose their direction and stayed on it long enough to see it bear fruit. If you look at the most fulfilled individuals, the ones who radiate purpose, command respect, and produce results, you'll find that they all have one thing in common. They know why they wake up in the morning. They're not floating through life. They are leading it. Their minds are not cluttered with indecision. They have made up their minds, and that decision becomes the compass that guides every other action they take. So if you truly desire to master yourself, begin here. Begin by asking yourself what you truly want, not what others expect from you, not what feels safe or convenient, but what ignites you. Be specific, be bold, then commit to that purpose fully. Let it become the central idea that drives you forward, even when the way seems unclear. Because once you are definite in your purpose, the path will begin to reveal itself. And as you walk it with conviction, you will discover that mastery was never about controlling the world. It was about controlling your direction within it, your ability to see. And once you have that, everything else begins to follow. Self-discipline is the cornerstone of every form of personal mastery. It is the internal authority that guides your choices when no one is watching, the quiet strength that holds your hand back from short-term comfort and urges it toward long-term gain. People often search for external keys to success, strategies, tools, mentors, even luck. But the most powerful key has always been internal. Without discipline, no talent is consistent, no plan is executed, and no ambition is sustained. Discipline is the ability to do what must be done even when you don't feel like doing it. It is the art of keeping promises you made to yourself. In a world where distractions are endless and temptations are constant, this one skill separates the dreamers from the doers. It is easy to begin something with excitement, to declare goals when motivation is high. But discipline is what carries you through the moments when that excitement fades. And it always fades. What remains is your ability to keep going. Discipline is not about being hard on yourself. It is about being loyal to yourself. It is not self-punishment. It is self-respect. It is proof that you are worthy of your own trust. Every time you choose discipline over impulse, you reinforce your identity as someone who follows through. Over time, that identity shapes your destiny. If you want to become someone who finishes what they start, someone others can rely on, someone who can rely on themselves, you begin with discipline. The undisciplined person lives reactively. They respond to moods, circumstances, and fleeting desires. They wake when they feel like it. They work when it's convenient. They eat, speak, spend, and act without alignment to anything bigger than the moment. And slowly they fall into frustration because deep inside they know they were meant for more. They sense potential within, but they see no result. That gap between who they are and who they could be grows painful. Discipline is the bridge across that gap. Those who achieve extraordinary things are not superhuman. They simply do ordinary things with consistency. They make small daily decisions that compound. They do not wait to feel inspired to take action. They act, and inspiration often follows. They don't ask, do I feel like it? They ask, is this aligned with the life I want to create? And then they act accordingly, whether it feels good or not. Discipline doesn't eliminate freedom, it creates it. The more control you have over your own actions, the more power you have over your own future. When you master your behavior, you are no longer at the mercy of moods, cravings, or distractions. You choose your path and you walk it. You're not pulled off course by every little urge or emotion. That is real freedom. The freedom to act intentionally. Think of discipline as a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Every time you choose structure over chaos, focus over comfort, progress over ease, you are strengthening that muscle. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. Start with one area of your life. Commit to a routine. Follow it even when it's inconvenient. Build the habit and watch how that strength spills over into every other area. In the end, all success is self-generated. No one will follow you until you lead yourself. No goal will materialize unless you first become the kind of person who honors their own word. And you do that not through bursts of passion, but through daily discipline. That is the price of greatness. That is the path of mastery. And the one who walks that path, not once, not occasionally, but continually, is the one who will rise above mediocrity and create a life of lasting significance. Your thoughts are the architects of your life. Every action you take, every word you speak, and every decision you make begins first as a thought. The mind is the origin of all creation, and the quality of your thinking will ultimately determine the quality of your outcome. If you do not take control of your thoughts, you hand over the reins of your life to habit, fear, and outside influence. The mind, left unmanaged, becomes a playground for doubt, distraction, and defeat. Thoughts may seem small, even invisible, but they are the seeds of everything that grows in your life. What you repeatedly dwell on becomes your belief system. What you believe shapes your behavior, and behavior, repeated over time, becomes your reality. So if you want to change your life, you must first take full responsibility for what you allow to take root in your mind. Most people underestimate the power of their inner dialogue. They allow negative, limiting, and fear-driven thoughts to loop unchecked. They tell themselves they're not good enough, not ready, not lucky, not worthy, and they begin to live according to those assumptions. But here's the truth. Those thoughts are not facts. They are choices. And just as easily as they were created, they can be replaced. You have the power to decide what thoughts you permit to live in your mind. Mastery of thought begins with awareness. You must learn to observe your thinking patterns with objectivity. Notice how you speak to yourself when you fail. Notice what your mind says when you're alone, when you're under pressure, when you're faced with uncertainty. Is your mind a coach or a critic? Does it encourage you forward or does it pull you backward? These patterns matter because over time they become the internal environment in which your life is built. When you realize that you are not your thoughts, you are the thinker of thoughts. You reclaim your power. You are not obligated to accept every idea that enters your mind. Just as you would not let anyone walk into your home and start rearranging your furniture, you should not allow every stray thought to dictate your self-demeaning or direct your action. You're thinking. You can question your thoughts, you can challenge them, and you can replace them with better ones. Ones that align with your highest self. Positive thinking is not about wishful optimism or denying difficulty. It is about intentionally directing your mental energy towards solutions, strength, and possibility. It is about training your mind to search for what's constructive instead of what's. A disciplined mind does not ignore reality. It chooses to respond to reality in a way that builds rather than breaks. This is not delusion. This is mental leadership. The most powerful individuals are not those with the loudest voices or the most impressive resumes. They are the ones who have gained authority over their inner world. Their confidence is not just performance. It's rooted rooted in their ability to think clearly, calmly, and courageously under pressure. When others panic, they remain centered. When challenges arise, they think strategically. This ability to govern the mind is not natural to everyone, but it is trainable by anyone willing to practice. Mental mastery requires consistency. It involves filling your mind daily with empowering ideas, aligning your environment to support positive thought, and interrupting any internal narrative that diminishes your potential. It is a daily discipline, not a one-time decision. But the reward is extraordinary when your mind becomes your ally instead of your enemy. You step into a different kind of power, one that is steady, resilient, and untouchable by circumstance. To master your thoughts is to take control of the root from which everything else grows. And once you control the root, you shape the entire tree. Thoughts become things. Choose them wisely and your life will begin to reflect the power of that choice. Persistence is the invisible thread that runs through every story of greatness. It is the quiet force behind every breakthrough, the unseen battle behind every... While talent may open doors and inspiration may spark action, it is persistence that sees things through. It is the ability to continue, not occasionally or when it's easy, but consistently, even when every reason to quit seems justified. Those who master anything meaningful in life all share this one trait: they refuse to give up. Every person who has ever achieved something extraordinary has faced resistance. Obstacles, delays, and disappointments are not signs that you are on the wrong path. They are the proving grounds of your commitment. The truth is, the universe rarely hands anything of value to those who only want it when it's convenient. It saves its greatest rewards for those who want it when it's inconvenient, uncomfortable, and uncertain. Persistence is the measure of how badly you truly want what you claim. There is a moment in every journey where the results are not visible, the support is absent, and the effort feels like it's going unnoticed. This is the most dangerous moment, the place where most people quit. They look around and say, "What's the point?" not realizing that they are standing on the edge of a breakthrough. Progress often happens beneath the surface before it becomes visible. The seeds you plant today may not show tomorrow, but they are growing. The disciplined act of continuing despite delay is what eventually brings them to life. Persistence is not just about continuing blindly. It's about adjusting intelligently while refusing to retreat. Sometimes the strategy must change, the method must evolve, the direction must realign, but the commitment to the goal remains firm. Persistence is not stubbornness. It is flexible resilience. It is the willingness to learn, adapt, and improve without abandoning the vision. It is what separates those who merely wish from those who truly will. The challenge is that persistence rarely comes with instant gratification. We live in a world that rewards speed, celebrates quick wins, and praises overnight success. But real success, deep, sustainable, meaningful success, is not born overnight. It is built through daily effort, often in silence, often in solitude, often without recognition. And that's why so few reach it. They confuse lack of immediate feedback with lack of progress. They think the absence of applause means they're failing. But mastery is not a performance, it is a process. And the ones who endure that process are the ones who rise. Every time you persist in the face of fatigue, you grow stronger. Every time you push forward in the absence of motivation, you build endurance. And every time you show up when it's easier to stay away, you reinforce the identity of someone who is unstoppable. Persistence is not about feeling like doing the work. It's about doing the work regardless of how you feel. It's the consistent execution of action that eventually transforms average into exception. You cannot predict the exact day your breakthrough will come. It might be one more step, one more email, one more call, one more attempt. And the tragedy is that many people quit just before that moment arrives. They stop because they cannot see the result yet. But the one who persists keeps going until the world has no choice but to respond. If there is one trait that guarantees you will rise above mediocrity, it is this: not brilliance, not charisma, not even luck. It is the decision to continue, to show up again, to try again, to move forward again. Because when you persist long enough with intention and intensity, even the world's resistance begins to bend, and the life you once imagined slowly becomes the life you now live. because you refused to quit when it was hardest to continue. In the end, all mastery begins within. The external world is merely a mirror, constantly reflecting the condition of your inner world. If you lack clarity, you will experience confusion. If you lack discipline, you will encounter inconsistency. If your thoughts are scattered, your results will be unpredictable. If you quit easily, progress will always stay just out of reach. But the person who defines their purpose with precision, disciplines themselves with conviction, commands their thoughts with intention, and endures with relentless persistence, this person becomes unstoppable. They rise above them.